Hi everyone, Harry here to talk about some really killer new evidence that we've learned about from Evan Corcoran that make it clear that he told Trump point blank, if you don't comply with a grand jury subpoena, they could issue a search warrant and search your place. All right, we are in Mar-a-Lago, right? And they are trying to get the documents back. They've gone back and forth, and they've been basically jerked around by Trump for over a year. And finally, there's a grand jury subpoena for all the documents. That comes, I think, around May of 2022. And at that point, Corcoran and another lawyer fly down to Mar-a-Lago to both deal with the gathering of materials and just explaining to Trump what's going on. All right. So first point, there's this account of sitting down with Trump that is so Trumpian, where Corcoran is just trying to say to him, okay, here's what we've got. This is what a lawyer does. You get a subpoena. Look, this is everything they're asking for. This is what this legal language means. Where can we find all these things? We'll need to do a diligent search. Whom can I work with, etc. And he just couldn't have the conversation because Trump was just basically sitting there complaining about how unfairly he'd been targeted and how great he was as a president and things that Hillary Clinton had done. And you have this tragic comic kind of scene of a lawyer trying to focus the mind of the former president of the United States of the seriousness of this, need to comply with a grand jury subpoena. Then you have what we'd already known, the kind of killer line. This is admissible, quick evidence lesson. When somebody's on trial, almost anything he said can be admitted against him, even if it's quote unquote hearsay or because it's defined as not. So you have Trump saying, well, what if we just didn't comply? That we've known about, but talk about it in inculpatory statement. That's his instinct. It's a grand jury subpoena. What if we just don't comply? And here is the new nugget that we've now, that's now been revealed. Corcoran said, well, it's a grand jury subpoena. They can get a search warrant and come search the place. So in other words, his lawyer expressly, warns him in no uncertain terms about his legal obligations and about the consequences of non-compliance. Should be pretty obvious to anyone, but so when he complains, as he has again and again, about supposed denizens of the deep state coming in and ransacking his residence as if he were surprised and horrified, that's all a lie too. One more really I think important theme here. So Corcoran is having these conversations with Trump. And what does he do after? He can't tape the conversations, or he wouldn't as the lawyer. But and of course the conversations you would think would be subject to attorney-client privilege, but that has been pierced because for a few reasons. But one is that it's conversations in furtherance of a crime. But he doesn't know that yet. Then, but he gets out his phone and he tapes to himself a series of voice memos. So just think about that for a second, right? This is, people who deal with Trump know they better have the goods. This is Comey making memos after Trump has asked for his loyalty. This is Raffensperger pressing play on the tape for the January 2nd machine. This is Michael Cohen making a few tapes of his exchanges with the president, and now we have Corcoran. So people know from knowing Trump, you better have the goods, meaning they know he's a lying sack who will deny things. And there's you could say an irony, but really a kind of really sort of justified state of affairs, which is some of the strongest evidence against Trump. It comes from the hands of his own advisors who know, or people he's dealing with who know this is Donald Trump. I better be really certain of what I'm saying. This could come back to haunt me, and it would come back to haunt me, but I can at least mitigate by having the goods on exactly what he said, so I don't get in a he said battle with a liar, and that's who my client here is. And so much of the best evidence against Trump is going to come from people who know this about him and therefore take precautions. Now, why did he do it right away? This goes to a rule of evidence where if you basically do, they call it a present sense impression. There would be a few theories of admissibility, but basically you leave a room and say, I just did this, that, and the other. It's equivalent to sort of imagine you're kind of at a baseball game giving a play-by-play transmission. When you're just sort of giving present sense impressions of what happened, that's considered under the rule of evidence that you don't really have an occasion to like make it up, and it is admissible as non-hearsay. It's really important, either for any reason, also because on cross-examination, it's really good to be able to say, I did this when it was fresh in my mind. Everyone sort of knows with conversations, you get the details much better that way. So it's not simply that he made it, but he knew to make it like right away. I think while he's down there in Mar-a-Lago, possibly the next day. So we have some really strong new evidence of Trump's being warned that this was going to result in a search warrant. And we have one more piece that's coming essentially from his own lips, because people who are dealing with him know they better get it down, because they could need it someday. And Evan Corcoran does need it someday. This is the day. And it's really, again, putting the lie to a theme that Trump has sounded again and again out there, that as with anyone, including Trump, though he tries to lie about it, you get a grand jury subpoena, you comply with the grand jury subpoena. You don't comply with it, you're going to get searched. This is not a mystery, even though he portrays it as both that and an outrage. So it's going to be really killer evidence to complement what we already knew, which is Trump saying, well, what if we just don't comply? And Evan Corcoran, his former lawyer, will be a strong witness for the government at the Mar-a-Lago trial whenever it does happen. Talk to you later. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video and other Talking Feds content, please take a second to like and subscribe. Talk to you later.